Laura Shepherd Show. We are filming this on location at the Red Shed. No internet. The internet's down. Where is it down? The whole island. Somewhere. The whole island down. We don't care. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh yeah, well things will change, leaves will fall, and it'll rain, transform before your eyes. No time for chasing. Why did it have to rain? For goodness sakes, and the internet's down. Oh, you never know just how life is gonna go. So you get in your boat and row, row, row. Get in your boat, row, row, row. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. Oh yeah, you gotta aim high and go for your pie in the sky. Go ahead, trust yourself, everything will right itself. Oh yeah, well, life's a stream, so go ahead and follow your dream. Jump in your boat, row, row, row. Jump in your boat, row, row, row. All together.
This is almost insane.
Woo! Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen and it could be good. Something's gonna happen like we knew it would. I told you we were having a Laura Shepherd show. We're having it in this shed. Come on. Oh, Ben.
Hello.
Ben, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show. We're here at the Red Shed. The internet's completely down everywhere from what?
Whanganui Island.
Whanganui.
That beams from Waiheke Island to Whanganui Island to the northern Coromandel Peninsula. So from Papaaraha North all the way up to Port Charles.
So
it's out.
But because we are who we are, we're doing you a Laura Shepherd show anyways. Ben.
Yes, I'm here.
I love, where I live in Gulfport, Florida, the flamingo is really big. So your shirt is making me feel homey. Ben, what do you do, Ben?
When I'm not a COVID refugee.
I know, we have that in common.
A tribal art dealer in London.
A tribal art dealer. And any particular region that...
Africa and Oceania, which is Polynesia, Melanesia, and Micronesia.
And did you always know you were going to do that?
No, I kind of fell into it, which the best jobs are, I think.
Yeah.
So
what was the tripping event that fell you into it? What was the catalyst?
18 months go overland from Morocco to South Africa.
So you took 18 months going overland from Morocco to South Africa.
I did.
Okay. I always have to translate because these Kiwis, they're speaking English, but I'm always like, eh?
What?
Eh?
What did I miss?
And why were you doing that? How were you doing that?
I was going to visit a friend in Cape Town.
In a car or a bicycle? Or
No, just with a backpack.
Oh. And then so you enjoyed art.
Fell in love with Africa. Well, came across it, in villages and at ceremonies and that sort of thing. I was introduced to a complete different way of life. And
generally you deal in art from London?
Yes. So I buy it at all around the place, from collectors and auction houses, and if I'm lucky at a flea market or a car boot sale every now and again. A treasure pops up, which is fantastic. And then I research it, and then I put it either on my website or rent a gallery and have shows and sell it to anyone who's interested enough to buy it.
Yeah. And so here we are in the Coromandel, New Zealand, getting our haircuts. Oh, look!
Paradise.
The hairdresser has arrived.
Hello. You've come for your haircut, sir.
I
Is that
have,
right?
Yes.
Annette, turns out you're back. Welcome back to the Laura Shepherd
Thank you
Show.
so much. What an honour
I
to
know.
appear on it twice.
Oh, I know. And we thought you were just a doctor. But as it turns out, you're also... Now, have you always cut Ben's hair?
For several years.
For
yes,
several years.
Yes, and then obviously in lockdown it became quite important.
And did he cut yours during lockdown?
No, I cut my own. He has tried to cut my hair in the past. It didn't end well.
Well.
No, there were tears
Now, do you
and
trim...
raised voices.
Oh! No raised voices.
No raised voices.
Only in song.
Not
Yes.
enough practice. Ooh,
No.
look at that Kiru.
Oh, where? Oh, I see him flying by. Yes.
Yeah, there, look.
Ooh. There's these great big, sort of like a homing pigeon, no, like a
Wood
carrier
pigeon.
wood pigeon. Here they are. They're flying around. They've got emerald green colors. All right. So, when you first cut a hair, like, what made you think you could just cut this man's hair? Because he's quite stylish,
He is.
and I would.
And he's very particular.
I would
as well.
imagine
That's
so.
the other thing. So,
Well, to put it into context, for the first 10 years of our relationship, I had long hair, which didn't need cutting.
very long hair.
No, much longer.
Longer than
Much
mine.
longer.
Yes,
Yes.
unfortunately. Or fortunately.
Yes.
Have you finished your coffee, sir?
No, I'm still going.
I'm going to wrap you up, if I may.
You can.
Now, what I want to know is how many people out there have taken up hairdressing.
I think quite a few.
Mm.
When I had my hair cut last weekend, the hairdresser said that she had dealt with a lot of DIY haircuts, the aftermath, and she said it was sometimes quite bad.
Now, a lot of people had to quit dyeing their hair during that time. I wonder what the percentage of people that just gave up
Yeah.
dyeing.
Yeah, I think quite a few.
Oh.
I've certainly had lots of friends post pictures on Facebook with their new grey look.
Yeah. Oh, look, the sun's coming out.
Oh, lovely.
Fabulous.
So look at this stylish man.
Thank
You've
you.
got this very stylish
Stylish cape, yes.
stylish cape.
Now, okay, back to these. So I'm calling them African masks. You're calling it tribal art.
Yes. Or technically, I mean, some people call it African art.
Mm-hmm.
The French often call it art première.
Primaire, as in
Which is-
primitive or primary.
The first art.
Ah, premiere.
Yes.
Oh.
So, which is often actually really probably antiquities, which is different from tribal art. Tribal art is mostly wood and a little bit of terracotta and a little bit of stone, but predominantly
And Benin
wood.
bronzes.
Yes, and Benin bronzes.
Okay, so I can imagine that now there's probably a market in faked African masks. I mean, I guess if they come from Africa, they're still an African mask.
Yes.
But yes.
It's made to look old.
Made
made to look old and probably sold by dubious characters who are misrepresenting their age
Yes. And so
and origin.
what do you feel confident that you can pick up a piece and get a feel for what
Yes,
sort of things
that's
are we
my job.
Yeah, well, good. And you're good at it. And that's what we love about you.
No.
So when you pick up a piece and you're looking at it, what sorts of things are you looking at?
You're looking at the quality of the carving.
Mm-hmm.
So was it done in a sort of a free-form, effortless way where the carver knew exactly what they were doing and had the skills to achieve that
Mm-hmm.
that look, and then the patina, the way that the wood has aged, and of course that varies enormously depending on what the purpose of the item is. So something that maybe is a spoon, for instance, or a weapon, has been handled a lot more than a ceremonial mask that's only used once a year.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. And these ceremonial masks, how do they get passed down from generations?
Yes.
So that some of these might be like a family might have one that's how old, maybe?
Well, these days, because of all of the post-colonial times, and including pre-colonial times, with when Islam arrived in Africa, as probably prior to Christianity, although I believe that there are groups of people, including the Bakongo in Congo, who the Portuguese missionaries were there in the 15th century. So they already had pieces. They already had pieces that they were making that represent iconographic figures and pieces that they were making in the 15th and 16th century,
Right.
in the form of style of what Europeans wanted.
Okay. Hold thought right there. Okay, you buzz. I'm gonna jump up and down.
Is it going to be too loud?
It's gonna be horribly loud. I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna do
Actually,
an.
that's not too bad.
I'm gonna do an interpretive dance.
Right.
It's actually
just sit there and relax.
Yes, it's actually pretty quiet.
It is.
And the thing is, I can only dance with one arm because I have to cradle my instrument. It kind of sounds like a lightsaber, frankly.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, we might actually be able to carry on.
I think
Yeah.
we should just keep
Yeah,
chatting.
okay. I thought it was going to be like a
I thought-
lawnmower or something.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be much more. I remember it being louder. Maybe I've just tuned my ears to the noise of the rain on the roof.
Yes.
So people were
Okay, already in the 15th century, there were Europeans going to Africa and bringing masks home.
Yes, but not in huge volume. But also the nature of the manufacture of masks for ceremonies was changing because they were being Christianized, and so therefore the masks which are used in their animist religion was being used less frequently.
Right, so they had new iconography.
Yes.
So, that's interesting, yeah. But once you carved this mask, if it was on the altar in your family home, it could stay there for hundreds of years.
Yeah, they didn't really put masks on altars. They normally stored them in the rafters of their homes.
Oh, and then pulled them out and danced.
Yes, and
So they weren't
repainted them maybe, or reburnished them. And as family members got married and disappeared, then copies of that mask were being made and taken into the other villages.
Oh.
Things like that.
Okay, so early African art included some masks, and these are for a ritual, sort of.
Virtually every single piece of item of African art has a use within the culture.
Right.
A use of has an element an element that is tied into their culture.
Right, so they're not just doing art for art's sake. They're making a beautiful tool.
Yeah. So they might make a spoon, but the spoon will have a figure on it, or will have a crest on it, or something that will be part of their culture. It won't just be a spoon, or it won't be just a bowl, it won't be just a vase, a jug.
And they're carving with metal chisels? No, I mean,
well,
now, but
yes, it depends on what part of the world that you're talking about. When the metal first came, for instance, in New Zealand, it wasn't until the end of the 18th century when Cook bought nails, which is what they first started with.
So prior to carving with metal, they
use stones and shells and skins of fish for sandpaper.
Oh, yes. Have you ever seen those fish scales they'll sell you as nail files?
No.
It's from a particular kind of fish, and it's about this big, and they've done something to the top half of it, like taken off so it's brown on the bottom, and it files your nails.
Wow.
My mom used to have one.
That sounds great.
So I guess the marks that a piece of wood that's been carved with a shell would have a different mark on it.
No.
Not necessarily.
Oh, it depends on the culture. Depends on what tribe a group of people is. Some people, the finish is what we call a chip carved finish, which almost has the leftover marks of the adze or the shell.
Right.
but most of them they're finished, they're sanded with something.
Okay, so so how do I tell a new one from an old one, or how do you tell? I mean, is there some gut feeling involved in this?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I would guess.
After a while,
You just sort of
after
pick it
handling
up and it.
hundreds of pieces or thousands of pieces, you get a 95%, 99% feel
Yeah.
of it.
And do you think that because I can remember growing up, going into houses, and there were African masks on the wall, and it was kind of popular. Is the market for African masks going up or down, or does it fluctuate year by year?
It fluctuates. They have, believe it or not, there's trends and fashions.
As we well know.
Yes. And I don't know who molds these trends and fashions, but sort of one year a certain group of might be Dan masks and Mumie figures, and then a few years later it might be something from a Punu mask or a Bauli mask and a Bambara figure.
Do you think it's like in some architectural digest magazine, and then everybody wants one?
I don't know. I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I have thought about it from time to time, but I have never reached a satisfactory conclusion.
Yes. What's that? Gold heist or Geist? What is that word that means, like a perfect storm of...
Zeitgeist?
Yes! Is that word relevant in this conversation?
Maybe.
I throw words out there. I can't even pronounce them. I read it in a book once. Delightful. Okay, so you collect up these items that you're then going to sell, and you store them.
I find them. I wouldn't say collect them up.
I would say that there's an element of collecting.
I know, but sometimes you can find one piece of a certain group of certain item that you're looking for. It might 1 in 5 years. I mean, you can't. It's not like you can go to a warehouse and go shopping and just take 5 of those.
You can't just go down to the walnut tree and pick the walnuts.
You can't even go to Portobello Road and just get whatever you want.
You need to keep your head still for a second.
I've just had a bit of slippage.
Oh, slippage. Yes. All right. So, is the thrilliest part when you find it in an old garage sale for $2, or when you sell it for $1 million or whatever, or 1,000 or 100?
Is that $1 million Nigerian naira?
Yes. No. So which is the big thrill for you, the selling or the buying?
Both actually. Both have a certain amount of satisfaction. Finding one is obviously pretty thrilling.
Yeah.
Selling it is, sometimes when you have to sell some of your best pieces, because one has to be a business and that's your job, or that's what you do. You buy and sell.
Yeah.
You can't just keep buying and keep buying. So you have to sell. And so that's a sort of a double-edged sword sometimes. It's great to be able to sell it, especially if you do well out of it. But knowing that you'll probably never be able to find or afford that piece again, which is the the bit that hurts a little bit.
Yes. And I find it, so at this stage, you pretty much know what you're doing and you've had some experience, but at the beginning, what made you think that you could buy and sell this stuff?
I didn't. I was petrified.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you didn't come from a antique background, or?
No. I started and I had a small, sort of 2 metre by 1 metre store at Portobello Market. In one of the arcades, if anyone's familiar with Portobello Road, the Antiques End, back in the day.
That's in London,
Yes.
Yes.
The infamous 1 mile long, maybe even longer than a mile, Portobello Market. And then
so you just rented the space?
Yeah, on Saturdays, Saturday mornings.
And did you consider it a big expense at the time, or was
no,
it? No, it was cheap enough at the time.
Yeah, so it was like about £70 a day. It was £70 a week.
Yeah,
so it's just basically you were renting it for the day.
Yeah.
which is probably why those arcades don't really exist anymore, because they
Yes.
only got rented out for 3/4 of a day, one day a week,
Right.
and the rest of the time they were all closed up. which
I know
is
we need to have
obviously-
weddings in them or something. You know,
I
that
know,
seems to be a
you
good
could-
point. What could we-
Weddings? There's
yeah.
not many weddings going on at the moment, is there?
Well, not in other parts of the
No.
world. That's right.
Um,
Hmm.
And so yeah, I kept my day job at the time, sort of not knowing when I would transit. Although
What was your day job? Was it interesting?
it was quite interesting actually. It doesn't sound as interesting as it was. I was a financial analyst.
Yes. Well.
But so I came home from work and then did the tribal art work.
You used to have to get up early on Saturdays, didn't you?
I did.
Oh, that was a bit of a shock to
I had
the
to be at the market by 8 a.m.
And so you went. Now, when you're saying you're buying these things at markets and sales and stuff, is that that's in Africa?
No.
No.
Because
Oh,
these
but
are all antiques.
yeah. So these are
So-
ones that are in circulation in the West.
Yes.
Oh.
Hopefully collected by missionaries in the 18th and 19th century.
and hopefully documented
Mm.
provenance.
Oh,
Or been in an important collection or decommissioned from a European museum by some dodgy dealer back in the early 20th century.
right. That word provenance. It's sort of like its history. If you can
Yes.
document, like on a tax record or something that.
Oh no,
Or
more
not.
but published somewhere, known collector, where it was originally brought to Europe by person, what collections it has been in, that type of thing.
Oh.
But also it's been published in
Magazines,
Hmm.
photographic evidence of it being belonging to an important dealer from the 1920s or 1930s on the left bank.
Ooh la la, on the big.
Well, the French, sort of having the whole of French West Africa, obviously were the big, art collectors and influence a lot of the artists at that time of the world.
And so they come with, sort of broken a bit or eaten by bugs. What sort of damage do they get?
Damage?
Do they don't, I mean, like, an old piece, it's fine. It's been sitting in grandma's attic for 50 years. We don't care. It's still good.
Mostly.
But I mean, you have had things that have been broken, sometimes
Oh,
in
yeah.
transit in the
Yeah.
UK, which is annoying, but also like being chewed by insects.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess anything that it is wood, it's all temporary. We probably burned some during that.
Yes, a lot of things got collected from Africa because the Africans that had been damaged mostly by termites or things that eat wood, and that they had carved a replacement, and the old one was just sort of lying around.
Oh, that's sort of interesting.
Mm.
Like we brought home their secondhand garbage, and now we're
So
putting it in
for
museums.
$12.
Because I mean, I always had this vision of us going over there and stealing their best works off their.
Well, that happened an enormous amount of the time.
Yeah, but I never even thought about they're buying seconds.
Well, not seconds; it had been used for quite
It's like going to the
considerable.
op shop.
But and then they pull it out from the rafters for the annual ceremony and to sort of get ready, and it's half of it's missing.
So then they whip up a new one.
Yes, run down to the artisan, to the carver, and stand in line for him to make another one for them.
And is that still happening in Africa?
A tiny amount. The skill's mostly now gone in Africa because the demand for it of making pieces has disappeared. So without the demand for it, the carvers use their skills. They don't hand it down to the next generations because there's nobody wants it anymore. They want TVs, cars, and baseball caps.
Are you a fan of baseball caps?
No, I'm not a fan of
I'm
baseball
not. You know what
caps.
bothers me about those baseball caps, really? You know what it is? It's that little plastic meshy stuff. That really bothers me. Ugh.
Do they all have that? Some
No,
can
but
be more.
they all have that feeling, whether they have that or not. It's
How's
my-
it going in it?
Oh, it's going all right.
How's it looking? Is he doing an okay job there?
Well, there's plenty of hair coming
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
Oh, there should be a lot of hair.
Yeah,
This
no,
is,
there is. There's
a
plenty.
4-month haircut.
Yeah.
Huh. I think that's a great thing. Give us some, yes. Now, do you believe this thing that you carry your vibes in your hair, and supposedly the American Indian trackers that joined the army could no longer track once their hair was cut and they were allowed to keep their long hair?
Oh, haven't heard that before.
That's what I've heard,
Mhm.
that they inducted the Indians into the army. You know, they tested them, and they could track anything and find anything and whatever. And then they induct them in, shave their heads. They could no longer do the tracking.
Wow.
And they said that that their hair was, feeling the. Do we have any scientific? No. See, this is what we love about Annette. Annette's like, nah, what, nah.
No, don't believe that. Load of rubbish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Placebo
Placebo
effect. Yeah,
effect. Well,
they
yes.
were just they were just like exacting their revenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could be absolutely, or just let's all say we can't do it without our hair because we don't want a haircut anyways. Huh.
Mm.
Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna sing a song. Turn your face towards the sunshine and turn your back on the bad times. You gotta laugh and laugh and laugh. Spend time to unwind. It's always today. It's always today. It won't be tomorrow, no matter how long you stay. You can wait and wait and wait and wait, but it won't be any other day. It's still gonna be today. Always today. Always today. And every day's a circle. Look at the clock on the wall. Round, 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 round. It's not going anywhere at all. It's going nowhere. That's right. It's always today. It's always today. So turn your back on the bad times and turn your face towards the sunshine. You gotta laugh and laugh and laugh. Spend time to unwind. It's always today. Always today. And sure, it's dark when night falls, but there's always a light. So you be the light and shine real bright, so we'll know where you are. Shine like a star. You gotta shine where you are. Yeah. Ah.
Hooray!
Yeah, what about this
And
chair?
the sun's coming out.
Yes, and the sun is coming out. What about this chair you're sitting in? Before we get to the end of this show and your haircut, let's look at this chair. What's the story with this fine chair? I'm going to look up the side here.
Well, I just inherited it.
Mm-hmm.
It was in our family, and my mother had it.
Mm-hmm.
And then my sister got it, but she's just moved houses and it no longer fits into her new house.
Mm.
So I put my hand up and got it.
And when was this chair built?
We actually don't know when
It's
it
sort
was
of
built.
interesting, these sort of flat, it has the round, what do you call these diggies in the back? Oh, don't turn your head.
Oh, yes.
Spindles. Are they
This.
spindles?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and it's round everywhere else, but it has this flat.
So, and it looks kind of arts and craftsy, but the table that it came with, we know was made in about 1860, 1870. So they might have arrived separately from England. We don't know. And it was, but they had it in a house in Christchurch, in Colombo Street, I believe.
Provenance.
Yes, from the 1920s.
Wow. Oh, there you go. Lovely piece of furniture. And look, here's another piece of furniture. What's the story on this one?
This is a new addition.
Yes.
I was down at the beach the other day, a couple of months ago, I guess, and a guy I know was scrambling up the bank with a chainsaw. And I said, Baz, what are you doing? And he said, oh, look, I'm making a butcher's block. And he'd found this washed up log on the beach, and he just cut off a round. And he said, well, if you want one, I'll help me carry it. I'll go and get another one and help me carry it up, and I'll make you one. So we did, and it was waterlogged, so it was pretty heavy. We had to scramble up the bank, which was it took two of us, and it was sort of a little bit treacherous. It nearly threw us back over the bank a couple of times, but we got it up to the top of the bank and rolled it into the back of his car. And about a week later, he said, your butcher's block's finished. Come and get it.
And these are like old fence posts, eh? As the legs?
They're old. It's Pereri, which is extremely hard wood that they used for fence posts. And so it's from a local farm in Colville.
I love the contrast between these two pieces of furniture.
Yeah. Well, this is, according to the council, is a storage shed, so we're storing stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Well, there you go. A lovely shed in the middle of this beautiful... Now, the sun has come out, people. For that, we're thankful. Can we see the sea?
That's very nice.
It's warming up. Another stunning view right here in the Coromandel. Yep, this is our life here. So glad you folks were able to tune in to this show. How's this haircut going?
Oh, it's nearly there. I just need to get some of the weight out of it with the thinning scissors.
Thinning scissors?
Yes, and then the curls come back. That's quite nice.
Huh. So we're gonna. Should we have a vote about whether the? Well, you vote. We voted. So you did a fabulous job, darling. Oh, those are the thinning scissors.
Yes.
Ah, that always freaks me out. You went to all this trouble to get it nice and flat, and then now you just take these funny scissors that just.
There'll probably be proper hairdressers watching this, and they'll be wincing at
yes, I'm
at
sure.
my poor
Your technique.
But
just goes to show. Look, you can do it.
Well, it is quite challenging, because certainly when I try, I've failed to meet the grade to get the right texture and contours.
But somehow doing this makes the curls come back, and then it doesn't look like a sort of a solid pudding basin.
Pudding basin.
Yeah.
You know, when you say pudding, I think of like pudding, you know, like sort of like
it's
Jell-O.
like that old pudding basin, and they used to sort of cut little boys' hair.
Yes.
I think medieval haircuts.
Yes.
Is this those scissors remind me of a medieval torture device. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I think that it's very brave of you to cut someone's hair.
Well, it's not that different from my haircut, and I've spent years watching hairdressers cut it with ease and aplomb, and I watched a few YouTube videos as well before I got stuck in. But yeah.
Before you got stuck
if he
in.
doesn't like it.
Yes.
And I hear about it, going on and on.
Oh,
should have
yes.
left that a bit longer.
Oh, la, la,
my
la.
God, yeah. But I think he's now just a little bit more accepting of that it's going to be all right.
It'll be all right. So it's basically the same haircut every time. He doesn't come
Yeah.
to you and demand a new style weekly.
No. In fact, if I stray from the template, like
Oh.
cut it a bit too short on that one side where you want it flopping down, then
Yeah, if it doesn't flop, it's a flop.
things grows ever so fast.
Yeah. Huh.
And YouTube videos are quite good.
Hmm.
It was amazing how quickly people put videos up when lockdown happened, because there were within sort of weeks there were so many videos of people cutting their own hair or instructing people how to cut their own hair, or actually doing it and really fucking it up. I mean, just monumentally. It was quite entertaining. So much put.
And so you're still cutting are you still cutting your own hair? No.
I treated myself to a proper haircut in Thames,
Huh.
in the revolving chair barbers,
Huh.
and she wasn't scathing about how bad my own DIY
No,
haircut had been.
Frankly, you look about as fabulous as always.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And it was a nice no nonsense haircut. You go in and it's just they sit you in the chair, dry haircut, boom, and then finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I've got some hair up my nose.
Oh dear.
Oh. So
My goodness. Yes.
let's see what-
Look, there's some lovely hairs growing out your ear. This is
Oh,
fabulous. Look how good that looks.
Yeah. I have suggested that maybe I could trim them. But
No.
That's been rejected.
It's funny because I thought it was hair from his head that it stuck on your
Yeah.
ear. Excuse me for. I really thought it was. I actually really thought it was a piece of the hair that stuck,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
why I can't go to normal hairdressers, because that way they cut it off before they say anything, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
it's like not what you wanted.
No.
Do you know I have hair on my neck? Oh, here, I'll give you the camera. Okay.
No.
Look. Yes, no, I'm serious. Absolutely. This was interesting. Okay, people. Like, I grew up, and for whatever reason, you can look in here so you can see. For whatever reason.
Oh, yeah.
See? Can you see?
No.
Oh my goodness!
As a child, both my brother
Oh.
and I have this hair.
Wow.
And I have just decided that I have hair there and
You're
have
gonna
had
leave it.
since I was going to leave it.
Yeah.
And, during my teenage years, cut it off. And my friends who I do music videos and stuff with, and they're always like, oh, before they want to do a music video, I have to cut my eyebrows and cut that stuff off, Laura. And I'm like, I don't know. Anyway, so there you go. And grown-ups hardly ever remark on it, but children do.
Yes.
Ah,
Children will say, what's that hair on your neck? And I think it's gotten lighter because people haven't been remarking on it quite as much.
I'd never noticed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've not noticed
Well, I'd
it
never
either.
noticed that Ben had hair in his ears.
Well,
So there you go.
It was actually one of the first things I noticed on our first date, and so I said, "Ha! I bet your father has hairy ears," because it's actually one of the few things that's inherited on the Y chromosome, and it was an example given of Y chromosome linked genetic diseases or problems. In my genetics textbook at medical school, there was a picture of this Indian man with most phenomenal hair on his ears, and Ben said, well, no, he didn't actually. And then I went, oh, well, did the postman or the milkman have hairy ears? And then it actually transpired that he was adopted, so it was okay that his dad didn't have hair on his ears,
Ah.
and it didn't mean misattributed paternity.
Yes, well, did you, so you had never, even with hair on your ears, nobody had ever mentioned the fact that you had never questioned where.
No, I think it's only medical types know these sort of things.
Ah. And you had never
General
questioned it
population.
yourself?
No, I hadn't.
Yeah, well, I have this hair on my neck and I don't know where it came from.
Well, growing up in a family with 4 adopted children, we're all a bit different from everybody else.
Yeah.
And each other and our parents. So it wasn't as if we all had blonde hair or all red hair and blue eyes and etc. etc.
You were the lucky redhead.
I was a lucky redhead.
Well,
The cheeky lucky redhead.
how are we doing there, kids?
I'm not happy with that bit. I think I'll just sort of
She's not happy with that bit.
so I'm just going to cut a bit more off.
Yeah.
In the hope that fixes it and doesn't make it worse because it's too short already. No, I think that's sort of
You're not
I
going
think-
to give me a Perry haircut, are you?
No, I'm not going to give you a Perry haircut.
I think maybe a little, shower and a shake might change the,
When is the last time I washed my hair?
I was going to ask, but then I realised it was being filmed and I didn't
Yeah.
want to.
I didn't say a hair wash. I said a shower and a shake. I didn't say anything about, just get it wet and shake it. It'll,
Well, that definitely has an impact and influence on the body
yeah.
of the hair.
Yes.
Exactly.
You don't want to wash all the dirt out because
No,
that's the body.
yeah, that's product.
Oh, cheap product, natural product.
Natural product, natural homegrown hair product.
And before Annette, did you have a particular hairstylist that you always went to?
Well,
You just
mostly
had
my
waist-length hair.
mostly my friends to henna it.
To henna it? What's that?
Henna? You know,
Oh, to henna
Henna.
yes,
it.
to
Yes.
henna my hair.
Ah, yeah.
So when I got a little bit older and it started to lose its vibrancy, someone suggested that I hennaed it. And of course, once you henna your hair and you've got long hair, you're stuck
You've
with
made
it.
a rod for your
Yes, which I didn't
Or
quite.
other people's backs,
really
actually.
realise at the time.
back. Yes.
So yes, for a number of years I had my hair hennaed. When it's waist length hair to henna, it's quite a lot of henna.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I got bored of doing it. So
Yes,
I said,
so-
I'm not doing this anymore. This is a fool's errand.
And
Do you want to
yes.
have a look in the mirror? Or let me
All right.
hang on. Let me
Looks like yes.
dust you down. With
Dust
the
we
right-
down. I think we've done and dusted this show, wouldn't you
I
say?
think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, the haircut is over, and we appreciate Ben and Annette once again for chatting about things.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Yay. Love you all. Bye bye.